Good afternoon. My name is Brett Hale. Myself and my group are presenting our group project on assisted suicide, euthanasia, if you'd like to call it. Our stance we're taking on the matter is that of being against it. Today what I want to do is briefly go over the opposing sides' views and opinions on it, basically those who are for assisted suicide. For many different reasons, these people may be for it. They may not want to see a loved one, a family member, suffering, bedridden, from mental, illness or, from severe trauma. The opposing side, those who are for assisted suicide, I'd first like to point out that the decision that these people are making, I can only imagine would be one of great torment and something very difficult they have to face and something they have to live with. No one wants to be put in a situation to where another person's life is basically put in their hands and they have the power and control to say whether that person shall live or die. A lot of these cases that I've researched are individuals who have severe brain trauma, and in hindsight are pretty much left in a vegetative state. Personally, I don't think that an individual should, have the control of playing God and whether someone should live or die. But then again, I can see the opposing views, ideas and their thinking through the research from this project. The individuals that I have looked up, like I said, they have had severe brain trauma, and they'll never be the same again. I'd like to mention, most will not be able to function. Most, like I said, are in a vegetative state, basically a deep coma. Their brain's not working, their body's not working, and basically being left alive by machines breathing for them, feeding tubes inserted into them that are feeding their body nutrition just to get them by day to day. And many people don't want to see their loved ones, family members, friends living like that. And essentially that's why they give the doctors the okay to essentially pull the plug and let their loved ones die peacefully. As my other group members may have mentioned, assisted suicide has been around for many years, and over these years, some of these cases have been very public, and so much out in the media that they've gained a lot of attention. One of the most popular, if you will, ones have been that of Terri Schiavo, her husband Michael, who at the time was her guardian due to the fact that they were married. She had severe brain trauma. She wasn't right. She was in a vegetative state at times. She responded at other times very, very minimally. Her husband did not want her to live that way and was adamant that if given the opportunity to say so, that his wife Terri would also agree that she did not want to live her life that way. There's a lot of court procedures back and forth between Terri's parents and her husband Michael. Essentially, in the end, though, her husband got his way, and she was able to, to die peacefully. They removed the feeding tube and all the other machines, and she was able to go peacefully at that time. Again, I want to mention that not everybody is able to make this decision. A lot of times it's family members convening, amongst themselves to determine that this is the way they want to go for their loved one. Again, it's not an easy decision. And again, like I said, many of these cases have been public because it is a hot topic at times when it comes up in the media. I would want to, or do want to bring up that there are certain criteria that the courts, as well as therapists, psychologists, and so on, have for considering possible human-assisted suicide. One of those is obviously consulting with a mental health professional who can make an assessment of mental competence, which would include the absence of treatment of treatable major depression. Obviously, if someone at that point is able to see a therapist, it's a little different than the stuff I discussed earlier when it's a family member making the decision for that person who's obviously not in a position to make it on their own. Another one of the criteria is it has to be non-impulsive consideration of all other alternatives. Also, consideration for the congruence of the act with one's personal values, consideration of impact on significant others. And again, these steps that I'm listing here that people have to be considered. These are obviously steps for those who are capable of making a decision on their own at that point in time. The main cases that you see in the news and in the media when it is brought up is those of people who aren't capable of making the decision, and it's left up to their loved ones. The Terri Schiavo case, like I mentioned earlier, was one of the most notable cases, and it did, like I said, have a lot of back and forth legal disputes. In the end, again, Schiavo, her husband Michael Schiavo, was granted his demands and let his wife go. And he faced a lot of grief for that from the public, from the media, for those who disagree with his decision, and basically those who are on the side of me and my group who are opposed to the idea. And all in all, I just I want to conclude with that. After my research, I understand both sides. I completely understand not wanting to sit there and watch a loved one be kept alive by machines and not knowing if it's against their will or not. And then those who are opposed to it, that grasp onto what little hope that there may be left, that this person will somehow miraculously come back and be responsive and be able to live a normal, healthy life. Again, it's not a decision that I would ever want to make. I hope no one seeing this would ever have to make a decision of that, of something that major. But it's a decision that people do have to make, and I have a lot of respect for them for doing so. Thank you.